Okay, I knew I forgot something. Hang on here. We're live, but like it's a quick switcheroo. I got to put the wallpaper on. Hang on. There we go. That's better. What's going on, guys? Lee and Tammy Sanders back with you guys for an all new edition of Wrestling with the Topics for this Friday, March 20th, 2026. Lee Sanders with you as always, joined by the beautiful and the lovely Mrs. Tammy Sanders.
Hello.
Hope you guys have been okay, all right. Shout out to my fellow college students out there. It's been quite an enjoyable spring break, depending on where you are. A roller coaster of weather that's just been 1 minute, it's ice cold, frigid temperatures. Oh, might be a chance of some snow or sleet. And then the next day, it's like 65 degrees, and then we're talking about, oh, we just need five blooms for the cherry blossoms. We got three right now. Could we hit it before the weekend? It's possible, but I doubt it. All kinds of craziness that's going on here. Hope you guys been all right. Now, hun, you were telling me something interesting. If not today, it was yesterday. I was shocked to learn that elementary school students, I thought their spring break had already started,
Mm-hmm.
but you had said no,
Mm-mm.
they don't start until,
The week of the 30th.
wow. So our friend, you know who,
Yeah.
it hasn't started for her. Because we
Right.
have a friend that works for the
Our local. Yeah.
public schools, and so she's not on spring break yet.
Nope.
Wow, that is insane. That is insane. I had to seriously stop and think about it for a second. I was like, damn, do I really have 7 more weeks left of a semester? And then I'm thinking, well, did I start off with 7 weeks to begin with for
Mm-hmm.
this semester? And I actually had to do the math. I'm thinking about the fact that we got hit with the snow.
Right. And that was a week.
That was a week that cost us,
Mm-hmm.
we got cost a week, obviously. And then I had to really sit down and think about it and crunch in the numbers. That was 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing in my head that like it's 7 weeks. So basically, when you break that down, it's essentially a month and 3 weeks. Yes, a month and 3 weeks,
Yes.
and then a
No.
break. Yeah,
No.
yeah. No,
Two.
no, 7 weeks.
Oh, yes. That's right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
7 weeks. So a month and 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get a break. I'm like, no wonder I was feeling kind of, I'm ready for a fucking break because the shit was just serenity now. That's pretty much how I was going and everything, man. I have been enjoying spring break, y'all. I know I've been doing the shows in between, and excuse me, that's been great. I always like when I get to do this particular show with you, hun, because we get to bounce around all over the place. Because there's certain topics that I look at and I go, I wish I could talk about this on Monday. Like the show that I did this past Monday, it was the first real true show that I did in a long time since this semester began, where I truly went all over the place like I normally would do
Mm.
on a Monday night. And I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
to worry about getting up ass early Tuesday morning.
Oh, yeah.
So and the best part, the show was under 2 hours.
Good.
I hit like about an hour 57. Anytime it's not a 2 hour show, that is major, major props for me because my ass can just go on so many.
All over the
Yeah, if
place.
I'm not, because I'm so multi layered with that sociology thinking and all that. So it's kind of crazy for me.
Yeah, to his point. He literally, I'm telling him this really feel good story. And about 2 seconds into the feel good story, he's asking me these compounded questions. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
So let's set this up for them. So she was telling me over dinner. I was making us dinner the other night, and she was telling me about this story that she heard on the radio where there was a there was a couple that actually, okay, let's do this. I remember my story involving the old man.
Mm-hmm.
You tell your story and I'll follow up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So there was a story. Actually, I had heard both stories. We have a local radio station in our area that I listen to, and they usually do a segment called "This Is What's Bringing Me Hope." Well, my story was about this couple whom, oh boy, sorry, hold on.
You got it? Let them roam, I say. Just go ahead, let
All
them
right.
roam.
Goodness gracious. Um, it was in reference to this woman, and it was around Christmas time. Well, she is an Uber driver and food delivery. And so basically, this food delivery person sees this charge on her side, and she just assumes, and it's like, oh my god, this couple was overcharged by $130. Oh my goodness. So she calls Uber, and Uber was really of no help to her. So she takes it upon herself to literally drive back to the couple's home to basically alert them and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you were overcharged." And I can imagine how that would be around Christmas time. I've been there, and it can really, wreck the season, so on and so forth. And oh my God, I'm so sorry. Please get in contact with them.
Mm.
And the lady that answered the door was like, "Hun, that is your tip. That's not an oversight. We wanted you to have that because we know how the hard times can be around this time of year. Thank you for what you do." And she was just like, man, that is something to be in awe of, that you have that kindness of strangers, within that. But the fact that she took it above and beyond of, oh my gosh, there must be something wrong, because there are so many other people that will absolutely do the reverse.
To your point, when Tams was telling me the same story that you guys are hearing right now, I said to her, okay, now think from a sociology standpoint, and I say you don't have to go too deep. It's not too deep. It's not too complex, but what does that tell you? Like hearing what you heard of that story and the driver involved, like what does that tell you? And she's like, I don't know. So she's taking a couple of stabs at it, and eventually I say to her, well, think about it from a character standpoint. And she says something, and she was kind of on the right track. So finally, like, just, rather than just keep beating around the bush, I say to her, well, if anything, it should tell you that the couple that decided they wanted to give this driver a $130 tip, they were justified in the person that they selected to give that tip to, right? They chose the right person. In this case, for this person, this driver, let's be honest, any other driver that would have saw that, they would have been like, oh, that's definitely an oversight. Ha ha
Mm-hmm.
ha. Psycho boo boo. Sorry for you. Tough
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Right.
And that would have been the end of it. But the fact that this driver went above and beyond to go back to that place
Mm-hmm.
to go, hey, there was a huge oversight, man. I just wanted to point this out to you. It looks like there was a screw up here. And the couple is like, no, 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 no. That's actually your tip that we're hooking you up with. That is just, you can call it a luck as far as the metrics go and all of that. But I've
Mm-hmm.
always been a firm believer. Yeah, it's a little bit of luck, but sometimes I believe there's a little bit of divine intervention that plays into
Mm-hmm.
it at the same time. Because if you've been
Mm-hmm.
fortunate enough, and I know many of you guys are out there, if you're fortunate enough to do some form of gig delivery work, you come across some really nice people that honestly, depending on the time of day, they're willing to chat your head off.
Mm-hmm.
and everything. But for the most
Mm-hmm.
part, there's some friendly people. Worst case scenario, you get people that just leave it at my door,
Mm-hmm.
or they'll just open their door halfway, won't even say hello to you. They'll just stick their hand out, you put the food in their hand, and and that's basically it or whatever. But for the most part, there are some nice people
Mm-hmm.
that are out there, and it has nothing to do with the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You can meet nice people in the ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, hey, how you doing? Hey, I gave you a little something extra and everything. So I saw her
Right.
story and I said, okay, I see you and I'll raise you. And I remember the story. I'm sure you all heard this one by now, but there was this old man that was doing Uber Eats deliveries because his wife was sick.
Right.
His wife,
There was medical expenses
yeah.
for the wife.
Okay, and so he was years removed from retiring, so
Right.
he basically unretired himself
Right.
to do gig delivery work.
Right.
And like this couple is watching him on this ring camera, and he is just struggling like a mofo to get this cup of coffee up some steps. It's in
Mm-hmm.
broad daylight. It's in a really nice neighborhood and everything. This couple takes it upon themselves to find out who this guy is, what's his
Mm-hmm.
story, and they start up a GoFundMe campaign.
Once they
And
found out who the guy
once
was,
they
they
found out who the
started
guy
up.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. And then like last I heard, it was like over $300,000, and Tam was like, no, 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 no. They was able to raise this guy like $1 million. I'm like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the guy couldn't believe that all that money was
Was
raised and
raised.
everything, and it
The
just
GoFundMe literally was titled "Help that person get back into retirement."
that is what's up. Like seriously, that is what's up. I love hearing stories like that. Again, I believe everything happens for a reason and everything. And shout out to all my fellow gig delivery drivers out there. I know as a college student that is on campus multiple times a week, I see a lot of cars
I'm
from my
sure.
fellow classmates that has Uber, that has Lyft, and I've
Mm-hmm.
had a few stories, swapped a few stories with them, good and bad, about how it is on the road and everything, and I've offered them some tips and all that. Little tip I want to give to you guys out there that still might be a little bit new to gig delivery, something that will help you, especially if you're doing the Uber Eats delivery joint, right? Go into your profile and just put in a little bio. I always believe in emotional context. I was telling Tams this, and I said, look,
Mm-hmm.
I said, not for nothing. I said, but I took the time out to just say a little something in my bio because I'm at the end of the day, we got to buy our food somewhere, even fast
Yep.
food, right? And I know many times I've gone in the app, I've seen the picture of the person that's delivering my food, and then I click on their profile. I'm trying to see what's their bio, like have they put anything in there? And
Yep.
like I remember, like to this day, I still have a bio. I gotta update it, but it's the same bio that I've been pushing for a couple of years now. My bio basically reads, "Hey, I do what I do because I'm trying to not just support myself. I'm trying to support my family and make sure I have everything that I need for my expenses as I'm continuing my education. I'm close to getting my associates, and then from there, I'm trying to, transfer, go get my bachelor's." And I can't tell you guys the amount of people that have gone out of their way and said, hey Lee, hey, congratulations on the school, keep going at it. Hey, I gave you a little extra something. Might not be much, but as you said, every little bit helps. God bless you, all that, and like just the amount of people that I come
Mm-hmm.
across. Some people, hey, where you going? I'm like, oh, da 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 da. I remember when I told them what college I was transferring to. They're, oh yeah, that's real good, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, they be like, hey, look out for da da da. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell them da da da, and they'll treat you good. I'm like, okay. Sadly, I don't remember after the fact because it's
Mm-hmm.
late at night, and I wake up the next day. Like I'm not writing that down, sadly. But if you take just it don't take that long. It's not like you gotta write a thesis or some shit like that. You just
Mm-hmm.
gotta dedicate like 30 seconds, boom, boom, and then you're out. I mean, that's pretty much the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But do that. You'd be surprised how many people are actually reading that stuff and then will want to talk to you
Mm-hmm.
a little bit about that, or just are much more friendlier as a result and everything. Hey, at the time that we're coming on, we found out some sad news. A Hollywood icon has passed. Rest in peace to Mr. Chuck Norris, the martial arts movie action star, passed away at the age of 86. That is a look. That is a nice, long, rich life. At some point this month, he was hospitalized out there in Hawaii after experiencing a medical emergency, and he died apparently yesterday. But his family had made the announcement on social media earlier today.
Right. So the information that I heard was it was either Wednesday or Thursday that he was hospitalized. I didn't know it until Thursday.
Mhm.
And then I just happened to be on my phone while I was at a doctor's appointment with my dad. And then I was like, oh, shit, that he had passed.
Mhm.
And for me, I grew up watching him in this, that, or the third. My dad was a huge fan of Chuck Norris for multiple reasons in reference to his movie stuff. Of course, a lot of people recognize him from Walker, Texas Ranger. If what was that, late 90s, early 2000s?
Everybody keeps saying late 90s. It was actually early 90s.
Okay.
And this is how and for everybody that is around our age, 40s and up, this is how you remember forever that Walker Texas Ranger was in the early 90s. Remember the black guy that was his sidekick.
Yes.
That was the same guy that was on Matlock.
Matlock.
Right,
Correct.
right. But make the correlation. Matlock was in the 80s going into the 90s. Late 80s going into the 90s.
Got it.
And yeah, when what the story goes, the black guy, after like a couple of seasons on the Andy Griffith or Matlock,
Matlock.
after a couple of seasons on Matlock, when he heard about the opportunity to work alongside Chuck Norris, it was like, okay, well, shit, I'm all in.
Right.
Let's go ahead and do it. And the rest is pretty much history. But
History.
that's how you're able to remember. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Matlock, late 80s, early 90s. Walker, Texas Ranger,
Was
early 90s.
90s.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So early 90s, but
I think 93 to 2001.
okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense because I was thinking when you were telling me that I was like, I'm pretty sure it was on until at least 2000. But in reference to, like I said, big, my dad was a big fan. So obviously, as I was growing up and other family members was also big fans as well, that I knew, about a lot of his work. And it was interesting to find out today for me. Now, Lee knew this before I did, but he actually helped train Steve McQueen, which was kind of interesting to hear and learn. Lee ended up elaborating on that, but for me, I had just found that out today.
Yeah, the way the story goes, Chuck Norris had been training actor Steve McQueen for a good minute. And when Steve McQueen got wind that Norris was thinking about going into acting, McQueen had gave him some very sage advice and was like, "Nah, you know what? You've got the gift of the gab. You would be very, very successful at it. The same discipline that you're applying to martial arts, you really need to apply that in Hollywood. I definitely think you have what it takes." And Norris had listened to that advice, and the rest is pretty much history, as they say. So everybody, of course, when they talk about Chuck Norris, they think about the infamous fighting scene from The Way of the Dragon, with his co-star, the star of the movie, Bruce Lee, and everything. And yeah, you could definitely say that had officially put him on the map as far as exposing him to a more international audience, and everything. And definitely going into the 80s, I need people to understand, like, when it came to the 1980s and the 1990s specifically, but more so the 80s, Chuck Norris was fucking everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was everywhere. Missing in Action, that whole
Yep.
trilogy,
Yep.
Delta Force. I mean, my God, all the movies that he was doing for Canon Films back in the day. There was a period where, believe it or not, Canon Films actually was doing
Oh yeah.
some quality shit
Yes,
there
they were.
for and some sleeper hits as well. Matter of fact, one of my favorite all time sleeper hit films that's from Canon Films, Christopher Reeve and I've told this story before. One of these days, we got to bring back 30 with Lee and review the movie. But Christopher Reeve, who plays the reporter, who comes up with a fake ass story, and Morgan Freeman is this drug lord. I think it's called Street Smart.
Mm.
It is a underrated, like, if I were to go into the whole weeds of that, we'd be talking Superman, The Quest for Peace, and because it was all under canon and all that. But yeah, that was a sleeper hit of a movie. But no, there was a streak there, and Chuck Norris was definitely part of it in the '80s, where like everything he was touching was just was just fucking golden, man. And then even
Mm-hmm.
going into the '90s,
Mm-hmm.
he picked the right projects
Yes, he did.
to continue to stay
Mm-hmm.
relevant, to
Mm-hmm.
be involved in to be on the tip of the tongues for many households,
Mm-hmm.
and just
And Walker Texas Ranger was, oh my gosh, pretty much on in most households.
and it's so interesting too because when you learn what you can about Walker Texas Ranger, out of the gate it was not a success, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the gate it was not a success. And originally, CBS had very strong concerns about it, and they just decided, okay, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's just make it a pilot movie, and depending on how the pilot does, we can kind of go from there. The pilot movie was a success, and then the rest was just like pretty much history and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And shout out to the YouTube channel Remember When, because I love those guys. They've been doing a phenomenal job of like maybe twice a week. They pump out, it's about a digestible episode that usually lasts roughly 23, sometimes 30 minutes, but they keep it around that range where they take you back and give you all this fun little trivia stuff of some of your
Mm.
favorite TV shows from yesteryear.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And it's not no AI slop, I promise you guys. Because, like, a lot of days when you're looking up stuff on YouTube, my God, I remember I was watching something about I Love Lucy, and all I kept getting was a rotation of still images, and I knew it was AI generated because the AI narrator, he didn't say Desi Arnaz. He said Desi Arnaz. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, right, you know.
Yeah, that you
And I looked at the
everybody and their
comments.
mom, everybody, as they say, everybody and their mama that was a fan of I Love
Yeah,
Lucy knew how to pronounce Desi Arnaz's name.
right. I'm like, wait a minute. I read some names kind of wrong. It's like, but I know I grew up hearing Desi Arnaz. Like, what? Wait a minute, what?
Yes.
And sure enough, I go back, I rewind it, I listen to it again. I'm like, huh. And then I go, I wonder if this slop was ridiculed in the comment section. I pull up the comment section, everybody's like, AI slop, that garbage, and all this
Mm,
other crap, and everything.
yeah.
True story, true story. Chuck Norris was not the original Walker Texas Ranger. I will leave you guys to do your research on that. You'll be a little bit surprised to learn
I think at one time I knew who that was,
who
but
is
I
the,
don't
yeah.
remember.
That's for you guys to do your own homework. I'm not going to tell you here on the show. I want to give you guys, I want you to work for it, but it's nice knowing that nice little trivia. The other thing, my mom was a big Chuck Norris fan. So when I immediately heard about his passing, one of the first things that I actually thought about was the fonder, quieter, fun times which was rare and few that I had with my mother, where we would kick back going into the weekend and we would watch Walker Texas Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
She was a huge fan of Chuck Norris
Yeah.
because she remembered him in The Way of the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And and I remember her telling me, like, she would tell me stories. She was like, "Yeah, I knew when I saw him in The Way of the Dragon," because she was a pretty much a kid,
Mm-hmm.
teenage girl
Yeah.
in the '70s and all that. She's like, I knew he was going places. I knew he was somebody you had to watch out for it.
Mm-hmm.
And she thought he was handsome. You know,
Not
she
bad.
for a white dude, she thought he was. Look, for my mother, who really don't particularly care for white men. There's like, to my knowledge, there are only three white men that my mother will go goo goo crazy for. Okay, three of them. Back in the day, it used to be Steven Seagal. I would imagine now she's kind of like, I don't know what that is running around.
Yeah. 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 I
Okay,
can agree with her on that.
okay, okay. The other guy, Telly Savalas, Kojak.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes goo goo caca crazy for Stone Cold Steve Austin. She loves that bald head. She loves that bald head. And yeah, so but she thought back in the day, she thought Chuck Norris was, but she remembered seeing him in The Way of the
Mm-hmm.
Dragon, and she was like, yeah, he's going places. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was a big Bruce Lee fan. So the
Mm-hmm.
transition was, and so how did I learn about Bruce Lee? I learned about
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Lee from my mom, and I inherited Chuck Norris through my mom as a
Right.
result. And so yeah, it was a nice little bonding moment that we would have, where we would watch Walker Texas Ranger. We never missed an episode. I still remember the episode. Speaking of Stone Cold, it's so funny because I remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin guest starred a couple of times on Walker Texas Ranger. Oh my God, my mom made sure that I had that on VHS. I was recording it, and because when she got home from work, she ain't want to miss that for shit, and so we was watching it, and yeah, true fun little trivia. I don't know why it didn't happen. Maybe because Vince McMahon was just so apprehensive about letting his stars work on outside projects back in those days. Like, it was kind of one of those, you want to do a movie, well, let's do a WWE produced film then.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it under our production. Let's do it under our
Right.
umbrella, rather than you go outside of
Mm-hmm.
our tent pole and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But the Stone Cold Steve Austin appearances, like, it was so damn good that CBS was like, look, we want to do a spinoff with Steve Austin.
Yeah. I remember at least one of those episodes.
Yeah, and I think he appeared. I'm trying to. Now wait a minute, y'all. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, you know what? I think I got Steve Austin mixed up with. I think I got Steve Austin mixed up with Nash Bridges. It was Nash Bridges. Forgive me,
Oh,
guys.
Don Johnson?
Don Johnson. There was supposed to be a spinoff,
Oh.
but WWE cock blocked. Yeah, in their own way, WWE
For Don
for
Johnson?
Steve Austin in the
Oh,
spinoff.
oh, 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 oh.
I
Okay.
got my
I
show,
see.
but there was a star that did pop up on Walker Texas Ranger. I remember there was a wrestling connection on Walker
Mm-hmm.
Texas Ranger. I can't remember it now. So that's going to be interesting to see. And of course, talking about wrestling, it was fun watching all the clips that were shared on social media earlier today, showing some fond memories of Chuck Norris and his involvement in wrestling and everything. Some of that stuff I had forgot about a long time ago. I wonder if it's a little bit too late, and maybe if it would be kind of tacky to maybe put him in the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, I know they just made the announcement that Dennis Rodman is going in, but
Hmm.
maybe next year.
Maybe.
Maybe
Maybe
next
next
year.
year.
Might be too soon right now, given the circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe next year they'll kind of look into that. But yeah, a lot of fond memories. One thing I remember about Chuck Norris. Do you remember the Total Gym?
Yes. I was
Oh my
thinking
god.
about that particular commercial earlier today.
Yeah, yeah.
in
Shit.
reference to how he used to sell the mess out of that.
He did.
Him and Christy Brinkley, right?
His wife?
No, Christy Brinkley,
Who's that?
the blonde-haired lady who used to be married to Billy Joel.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think
If
it
that's
was
who that
him.
was,
Him and Christy Brinkley used to do the Total Gym infomercials together. From what
I
I remember.
remember a woman towards the end, but I didn't really think too much of her to like, who is that?
Right. I'm
I
almost sure it was him and Christy Brinkley.
okay.
But at one point, he was doing it by himself.
Yeah, for the longest time actually. For the longest time he was doing the Total Gym commercials by himself. I used to come this fucking close a couple of times from picking up the phone because it was like, what have I got to lose? Like, and then if anything, I have a lot to gain, right? And I love how they made it so simple. Like, hey, when you're done with it, you can just slide that bitch under the bed, or
Right.
yeah, put it in your closet. It's like, or put it under your sofa. I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's what. Like 2 month risk trial. We'll even pay for shipping. I'm like, damn, this all sounds fucking good. This sounds a little bit too good. Like, what the hell and everything, man? Like, seriously. It's interesting how like when you think about one name, it like has this weird domino effect and everything. Because another thing that kind of clicked into my head was the infamous Conan O'Brien skits that would involve Walker Texas Ranger.
See, I
Conan
don't
went
know
on
nothing
the
about that.
look back in the day. Conan would go on this hot streak where like multiple times a week he would show like these really bad clips from Walker Texas Ranger. And the fucked up part, Conan and the staff, they didn't edit it whatsoever. Okay, they would just show these really bad skits and of segments from Walker Texas Ranger. The most infamous skit of them all had involved this little boy. I take it you haven't seen the clip yet. Okay, so first things first, let's pull up the clip in question. Let's pull up the clip in question.
He
I'm actually
literally
gonna.
has to
I
go
I
and
want the
pull up the
audience.
clip.
I want the audience to hear this too. This is like the funniest shit. This is actually from a episode of Walker Texas Ranger. Okay, let's pull this up. Okay, good. I got the audio right here. And enjoy. This is like a minute 43 seconds, but this is pure fuck comedy gold. Oh, wait a minute here. The audio is not leaking through the audio is not leaking through my whatchamacall. Hang on. Why is that? See, the audio should be. Do I have a download option? I do not have a download option. So let me set this up while I try to figure out if I can play this. So basically, in the Walker Texas Ranger clip, Walker has this little short haired, blonde haired kid. And the boss, Chuck Norris's boss on Walker Texas Ranger, the old jolly white guy with the gut and the mustache, you know, he's like, "Oh, how you doing there, young man?" And little boy's like, "Oh, I'm doing pretty good," or some little bullshit chit chat or whatever, right? And then the next thing you know, the little boy goes, "Walker told me I have AIDS," and then the clip just cuts right there.
Oh Lord.
The clip just cuts right there. I remember the first time I saw that. I remember the first time I saw that shit. I was in my late teens, going into like 22, 23 or whatever. And I fucking died with tears because I'd never seen that clip before. Right? I don't even remember that episode. And Conan swore, he's like, "Look, we didn't edit that. Like that was from an actual episode." And then sure enough, I actually went out of my way to find the episode in question, and some bitch, like it was legit. And it was like to this day, like that's always ingrained in my head. So like two things popped in my head when Chuck Norris died. Actually, three things popped in my head when Chuck Norris died. One, the infamous fight with Bruce Lee, but then Total Jim, and then that Walker Texas Ranger segment.
Oh my goodness.
You know, it makes me feel really good that he was able to participate in one of the Expendables sequels right before, because that would have been
Yeah,
2012.
Stallone has already commented his condolences to the family, and what a great guy he was to work
Yeah,
with.
we're slowly losing them, man, one by one. We're slowly losing them. It's kind of weird, you know.
Yeah, weird is the best way to describe it.
Because think about it, we've already lost Carl Weathers, who was in his own right an action star too.
Yeah,
Predator
yeah.
and a whole bunch of
Action
other stuff.
Jackson,
Action
which was
Jackson,
a
right?
B movie, but
Right. Foxy Brown. Oh wait, was it Foxy or was it no Coffee? No,
Coffee.
was it Coffee? Which no Friday Foster. Carl Weathers was in Friday Foster.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what it was. Yeah, he played the hitman that was supposed to kill Foxy as she was coming out the shower, and she was dripping wet, and you know,
While he smiles
what?
as he's trying to tell me the story with a straight face.
Yeah, I am smiling as I'm trying to tell it with a straight face because I'm thinking to myself, dude, why weren't you smiling in that movie? Like, here's this big boobied woman coming out of the shower. It's like, okay, whatever, dude. But no, like when you think about who's left.
Who the hell? I mean, what hitman do you know who's ready to do a job? It's kind of like, hey,
Well, damn, all the other Pam Grier movies they showed of the bad guys, they were infatuated with her boobs.
well, I mean, maybe he was just there to do a job.
Well, they were there to do a job too. But some of them said, I'm gonna have my kicks, damn it, before I kill this bitch. Literally, that's what one of them had said too in the movie. That's what one of them had
Oh
said too.
God.
So let's see if we got this straight. So we got Steven Seagal left. I'm thinking about like action
Yeah.
stars from the 80s. So we got Steven
Yeah.
Seagal. We've got Van Damme.
Yeah.
But Van Damme was more 90s.
Yes.
More
Yeah,
90s.
he was.
Schwarzenegger.
And Seagal was late 80s into 90s.
Yeah, but we can still give it to him. We can still give it to him. Stallone. Definitely
Yes. I was
Stallone.
definitely still on.
Stallone. What about Dolph Lundgren? Would you say Dolph Lundgren
Somewhat, yes.
is on one? Okay.
Because, he participated in the Rocky franchise, and if, shit.
But as far
Was
as
he in
action
Predator?
stars,
Was he in Predator? No, he
no.
wasn't in
No,
Predator.
he wasn't in Predator.
Carl Weathers was in
Carl
Predator.
Weather was in Predator, yeah.
Um,
Jackie Chan for sure.
yeah.
Jackie Chan was doing shit in the 80s. But unfortunately, he really didn't blow up until the
Until
90s.
90s.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's a handful left, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
handful.
It was a handful.
Because the action stars of the 70s and early 80s, they're few and far between.
Yeah. Give it another 20 years,
Oh,
we're probably going to be down to
done.
two.
Done.
We're probably going to be down to two.
Yeah.
I had to remind myself because when I was telling you and the listeners just now, when I was going down the rabbit hole, like it's amazing how like one memory will like trigger another and all that. I actually said, I don't mean to embarrass myself, but it's the truth. I said, oh, Tina Turner been quiet lately. I wonder what's been going on with her. My dumb ass forgot she died in 2023. Yeah, I totally, but it's just amazing. It's like certain people I haven't thought about in a long time, and I'm, hey, what they been up to? Oh, damn, they're dead. Like, but but look, I'll match you. Here's something that's even crazier. Then I said, and I know I'm suffering from the Mandela effect. Then I said, oh yeah, we've been without John Voight now for a couple of years, and then I watched this movie The Alto Nights. I watched it literally last night, starring Robert De Niro in dual roles. I will talk about more about that in a little bit. And I'm like, who's that old guy that's next to him? Like that old
John
guy.
Voight.
I'm like, that's got to be. Oh, well, this came out in. Wait, I thought John Voight died. I type in John Voight. John Voight's still with
No,
us. I'm
yeah, he
like,
is.
damn.
Yeah, because that's Angelina Jolie's
Right.
daddy.
So I flipped it. I flipped it big time. Yeah, I watched Alto Nights. I remember seeing the trailer for that movie last year. All
Was it
online.
good? I mean, there's two
No,
really good
you went
legendary act.
look, you went right for the jugular. That's what the listeners want to know. Is it good? It really depends, and I'm not trying to be wish-washy. It really depends on what your definition of good is. Like if you were to ask me, okay, Lee, yeah, I heard that De Niro was playing two roles. Like, what the hell? And it's like, yeah, the role of Frank Costello, it just seems like you're watching a disengaged, low energy Robert De Niro that's just like, yeah, I'm here. What's the shit you want me to read? Uh-huh. Yeah. You know, I mean, just so
Damn.
just low fucking energy, man. Low ball fucking energy. You know, it's like, how can I really differentiate this character from that of the actual Robert De Niro? Like, there's really no difference here, right?
Hmm.
And Frank Costello, remember, that's the crime boss of the Luciano crime family and everything. And I really wasn't picking up any, it just felt like De Niro was phoning that shit in. But man, every time De Niro showed up as Vito Genovese, the crime boss for the Genovese crime family, oh shit, you could tell he was licking his chops. You could tell he was having fun with that character.
Hmm.
I mean, what they did with the CGI and the makeup and all that, but definitely more so what De Niro did in voicing
That
Vito,
character.
and voicing
Hmm.
Vito. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome, and it just had me go, huh? Well, maybe, just maybe, it should have been De Niro in the role of Vito, and they just should have recasted the role of Costello. Like
Hmm.
that just would have made. But then the question becomes, okay, so then who do you slide in there that could
Hmm.
have been Costello?
Hmm.
Honestly, Chad, the guy in was it This Boy's Life or a Bronx Tale? I think it was a Bronx Tale. Chad, his last name starts with a P. He's a veteran actor. He's been in mob movies. Penanzaro. I'll look it up, but
Hmm.
or Mandy, the guy from Chicago Hope, and he was the original lead in Criminal Minds. Mandy Pinkin. I think he would have been good for the role. It's sad because I'm saying some of these names and Tam's just looking at me crazy. Mandy Patinkin. When you type the name, you know who I'm talking about for you veteran OG TV viewers out there. If you ever watch Chicago Hope, if you ever watch Criminal Minds, like watch, I'm gonna show Tams the guy I'm talking about. She went, "Oh yeah, I recognize him."
Yeah, I'm better with faces than I am
Yeah,
with
yeah,
names.
yeah. Here's how he looked back in the '90s. Let me see if I can blow this up here. See if I can blow this up. There you go. That's how he looked in the
Vaguely,
'90s.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the guy was everywhere. He was doing
Hmm.
TV shows,
Yeah.
movies, and all that. And then the guy I'm thinking about, the guy I was thinking about from A Bronx Tale, because that was another De Niro movie as well. And when I pull that guy's Chaz Pa-
Oh,
Palman
okay.
Palmanentera,
Yeah, yeah.
I
He
always
he
butcher
could
that.
have.
Yeah.
He could have. He played in uh organized crime for a hot minute, right?
It's
As
possible.
as McDermott's daddy.
Yes. Dylan
Yeah,
McDermott's dad.
yeah.
Yes, you are correct. You are correct. Yep, that's him. So, but no, the movie came off very Martin Scorsese light.
Mm.
Um you would think a movie that was produced and directed by Barry Levinson. I mean, that's a
Oh
well-known
wow, that's
name.
a
Right.
well-known name.
You know that, like, okay, you can't go wrong.
Hmm.
But it just felt, oh, and Deborah Messing was in that too. She was actually really good.
Oh wow.
She played the wife of Vito.
Okay.
No, no, no. The wife of Frank.
Mm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the wife of Frank. I was more. It's crazy. I was more interested in her as a character than I was
And
of
De
the
Niro.
scenes with De Niro as Frank Costello.
Mm-hmm.
Cause she, for me, she really kind of stole it. 'Cause I was like, oh, what is she gonna do? Like, what does she have to say about?
Mm-hmm.
What is she thinking? She showed more range
Mm-hmm.
than fucking De Niro did
Wow.
as Frank. A very predictable plot. Um, I think the thing that was like the most sad about watching Alto Nights was here is this script that really doesn't have any substance whatsoever. There's really no heaviness to it. We're really relying on the cast to carry it.
To carry the script.
It was one of those type of movies.
Okay.
And then on top of that, you're just looking at De Niro and you're like, but we've seen him do this shit so many times.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the other part of you that's going, but he does it so well.
When it's
But then you're like,
in the right,
right. You understand?
yeah.
Right? Because it's like, yeah, he might be so good at it, but like, this is the same goddamn bologna sandwich, right? That's like, if I want to watch De Niro in two different roles, fuck, I'll just pull up Goodfellas.
Raging Bull.
I'll just no, or
No.
whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying in this particular case, we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about gangsters,
Oh,
right?
okay.
If I want to
Oh, that's right.
watch Robert De Niro in the role of two gangster roles, I'll just pull up Goodfellas and Casino at the same time
Mm-hmm.
on dual
Mm-hmm.
screen, and I'll just watch that. You know,
Right.
I think so much time was spent on De Niro double lead
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't focus more enough on the little other things that really add up.
Yeah.
So if you were to ask me straight up, Lee, is it like 2+ hours wasted for nothing? I would say yes. So let me
Oh
break it
wow.
down. Yeah, let me break it down like this. If you got Prime Video currently and you haven't watched the movie yet, I would say, yeah, go ahead. If you got a weekend, you just want to say you saw it, just so you can say you saw it, go ahead, check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to watch it during the daytime because the way that they filmed this movie, like, you got to make sure that you're watching it at night. I tried watching it during the daytime,
Mm-hmm.
but the way that they film, it's so damn dark.
Oh.
And I was messing around with my TV settings trying to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
like my brightness, nighttime
Right.
mode wasn't on or anything like that.
Right.
And it was still dark as fuck.
Oh wow.
So it's like wait until nighttime to watch it, and
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, if you got Prime Video, I would say if it's one of those, hey, should I get Prime Video? I was thinking about getting it for the month, and that was maybe one of the things I was going to check out. Well, if that's one of the things that you're going to check out, knock yourself out.
Right.
But like as far as oh boy, I gotta go out of my way to watch that fucking movie. I would rather, contrary to how some people may have felt about The Irishman, if you still haven't watched Netflix's The Irishman with De Niro, Pacino, who's the other one? Who's the other one?
Pesci.
And Pesci. I would say go watch that first. Go watch that. Go watch the other one that De Niro got praised for with Leonardo DiCaprio a couple of years back. There was one he did with Leonardo DiCaprio a couple of years back. That one was actually, I hear, really, really good. I actually
Mm-hmm.
watched little bits and pieces of
I
it.
haven't seen it.
It actually was good. But yeah, yeah, weird movie. Just a weird movie. So there's that.
Speaking of actors in movies,
Mm,
congrats Michael B. Jordan
yeah,
on his Oscar nom and win
yeah,
for Sinners.
yeah.
So, really, really happy for him. He really is coming into his own as an actor. He's been in it for a long time, but in reference perfecting his craft. But him and Coogler, it's almost like a winning combination. He did phenomenally when he started the Creed franchise. I mean, it's Rocky, but it's kind of its own separate entity with Creed. Every one that I've seen. Now, I haven't seen 3, which is actually kind of shocking for me because I'm a huge Rocky fan and, of course, a huge Creed fan. But everything that I've seen him in the last, you know, the last 10 years has been, really good in reference to, method acting and, giving praise where it's due, telling the people that essentially got him to where he is and giving that praise, that's really nice to see.
It is. And when you really stop to think about it, I think those two brothers are going to be making many more films together for many, many more years to come until they both drop. And I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. I don't see them ever being in a position where it's like, the well is running dry. We kind of fucked it up. No, I think with their spirits and just the way they
Innovation.
gel, yeah, I think they're going to continue to compliment and raise the stakes every single time they collaborate. It's so funny because when you stop and think about it, Martin Scorsese, for the longest time, his go-to has been Robert De Niro, and then in the later years, his new go-to has been Leonardo DiCaprio
DiCaprio.
because he's made quite a few movies with him now. And then you think about Brian De Palma and the films that he did with Al Pacino. And then it's so interesting to like when you think about all of that and now
Now
you know
you've got Coogler
and
versus Jordan.
right
Yeah.
or Anne
Or Ann Jordan,
and
not
Jordan, yeah,
versus, but
yeah,
Ann Jordan
yeah,
making, movie history.
yeah.
And it's so funny that I think it's probably both of their innovation and grit, because it was so funny that there was a segment or a tweet that I was reading that basically he was saying, when, 5 to 15 years ago, I was dirt poor and in the hole, in the hole so bad I, couldn't even see a way out. Now I'm, have a net gross of like $25 million. And Jordan was the same way, struggling to make ends meet. He talks about the road trips that him and his mom took on how in the world they were going to get there and get back. So, it really speaks to the grit to an innovation to essentially get it done, pick the right things or pick the right roles, and a little bit of luck in there too.
Oh yes, yes, without a doubt. It's like the most coolest thing. So I know you're not wanting to see scary flicks, but now that you're hearing all this buzz and the fact that Jordan won this award for Sinners, does it now entice you to
Well,
want to see
the funny
Sinners?
thing is, I didn't actually. I heard it was a little scary, but there have been a few people that have told me that it was fantastic, and that I should see it. And it was always kind of like, okay, one day, when myself and Lee can sit down and we'll watch it. And I think I remember when it first came out, I remember saying to you, oh, well, once it comes out, in reference to streaming platforms or DVD or whatever have you,
Yeah,
we need to watch it.
yeah,
Well, we never did.
yeah.
And then it was like, okay. And then when I heard that he won this award, or the Oscars, not this award, um, basically it was like, oh, okay. And it's a unique story that from what I'm seeing, he's playing two parts, and it's so I'm intrigued, and I do want to see it.
Yeah.
But
I bet you he's gonna put but I bet you by the time we get done watching that movie, I bet you I'm gonna say something like, take that, De Niro. you know, because he's getting a
that's
lot of,
possible.
from what I've seen, like he's gotten a lot of praise for the dual role.
I've
Like,
heard.
I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay. Because, there's only one other actor that comes to mind who I really, really love that was phenomenal playing two roles. He was a daytime soap actor. Yes, I'm talking about daytime soaps.
Oh, you talking about? Oh, good lord.
Is it David Canary? Adam Chandler All my
Oh,
children.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, Adam Chandler. All my children.
Eh, I mean, the name sounds familiar as far as who you're speaking of, as far as the name. Now, while Leah's looking this up, how friggin' cool
Yeah,
is
I
this?
remembered it right. She's been looking at me crazy the whole time, and I'm like, "Come on, man, work with me, work with me." I know I'm remembering the names, but when she gives me the crazy look,
Well, see,
I didn't have to rely on
huh?
that. But the actor's name is a veteran actor. His name is David Canary, and he won a couple of daytime Emmys for his portrayal of twins Adam and Stuart Chandler. And like that might be crazy to hear right now in 2026 and everything, but like this guy like was one of at one point the biggest baddest villain on daytime soap when he was Adam Chandler. I mean, this guy was just cunning, he was ruthless, absolute corrupt power. I mean, he would make Trump look like a chump. I'm telling you that right now. He would make Trump look like a chump. Hard to believe, I know, but it's real, right? And then the producers came up with this crazy idea of what if it turns out Adam had a twin brother? But just to sweeten the pot, the twin brother is mentally challenged. He has a very good heart. He has the mind, and he acts like a 9-year old, right? And he always sees the good in people, even his brother, no matter, all the bad
Mm-hmm.
things that his brother has done. And so enter Stuart Chandler. And like, there was a couple of years there where David had won awards.
I think I definitely remember him winning the awards. That's why the name sounded familiar. But see, what Lee doesn't remember is that wasn't one of my soaps.
Oh, it didn't even have to be
um,
one of your soaps. It was just one of those things where like it was all over the news. Like,
True, but unfortunately, you're asking me to remember something from like
that's okay.
25 years
That's
ago.
okay.
And unfortunately,
That's okay.
that's just not.
Yeah, that's okay. That's why I'm kind of like the what is it? The uncredited historian, because I can tell you guys back in the day it's not like how it is now. Nowadays the daytime Emmys for the soaps now is pretty much non-existent,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like back in the day,
Oh,
like
it used to be a thing.
yeah,
I used to watch it.
70s, 80s, 90s, even right
Yeah,
on up to the early
yeah.
2000s, like believe it or not people,
I,
it was a
I,
big deal.
I absolutely watched the that award show
Yeah.
for quite a few years.
Speaking of
Now, but wait a minute. How cool was it though?
mm,
Before you do that,
uh,
how cool was it though that he took that freaking Oscar to an In and Out? Wasn't it In and Out
it was
Burger?
an In-N-Out burger,
I mean,
yeah.
it was.
You're
I
talking
don't
about
know.
Michael B. Jordan, yeah.
Right, but basically just kind of going back to that was cool. I just thought it was cool that he did that. And they were standing on the just trying to get the shot. They were standing on the tables in the next booth.
No, I did think that was kind of cool. It was kind of like it's like you could have had anything in the world and you just decided to just walk
Yep.
across the street to an In-N-Out burger to celebrate. Like,
Yep.
that's cool.
Yeah, I just thought it was I just thought it was a cool thing to do. It wasn't it was out of the norm.
Yeah, no, we're
Yeah.
agreeing.
So,
I'm just
yeah.
saying. No,
No,
I'm with
no,
you. A thousand
I'm
percent.
literally just,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought, unfortunately, so I don't remember what I was getting ready to say. But yeah, congratulations to Michael B. Jordan. I was getting ready to make a very important point. Um, ah, I see that the Steve Wilco show, while we're talking about entertainment, I
Yeah.
see that the Steve Wilco show, Camaro, Access Hollywood, um, there's like a whole bunch of casualties that are losing their shows because basically, like, the cost for production and the fact that these are in syndication, like the return of profit is just it's not really there. So all these
So
shows,
viewership because of viewership?
no return of profit, ROI,
No,
oh return of investment
I know what
has
you're
nothing to do with the viewership.
Oh, okay.
Basically, from the article that I read,
Mm,
a lot of the advertisers, they're going, look, in a day and age where everything
mm,
is streaming,
mm.
we're not really seeing a good ROI
Gotcha.
to justify having these
Keeping that.
continue on. It's hard to believe that
Wow.
after 33 years, Access Hollywood, they can that bitch.
Yeah.
I thought Access Hollywood would just like somehow continue on, but what ended up being the death of Access Hollywood, I think Access Hollywood, they really should have made the transition into embracing social media. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
give you a prime example. There's a social media account that I have followed religiously for, I would say, the past 7 years. And for the first time ever, these guys were invited to the Oscars, which was like really, really cool because they came into existence 10 years ago, discussing films.
Mm-hmm.
They're, as far as I know, they're mainly up on Twitter. But I wouldn't be surprised to hear if they have a presence on YouTube as well and all that. But I know they do podcasts and things of that nature. And everything that they have been doing with their
Mm-hmm.
social media game, you're kind of looking at, and when you look at something like Access Hollywood, you go, well, this is what you should have done. It's almost kind of like, hey, Blockbuster Video, you see what Netflix is
Mm.
doing? Yeah, that's silly. And then now you look and see, and it's like, yo, Blockbuster, you had an opportunity to buy Netflix,
Yeah, and you didn't.
and you didn't. So it's possible that maybe
I mean,
BET might come
right.
in. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe Oprah and her network. Maybe they
Mm.
might do something. Maybe Tyler Perry. Like, I don't know. Anything's possible.
Yeah, anything's possible. It might just be can, but also it could be revamped um into a different type of thing. Now, the thing is whether or not, kind of like, again, like Blockbuster. They tried to get on the bandwagon, but at that point, Redbox and Netflix was already saturating the market,
Yeah.
and Blockbuster was late to the game.
Yeah.
So it just really depends on how innovative you are, how much how much is already out there, and how are you going to be different to get the viewership and the attention to make it work.
Mm, yeah. 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 I don't know if we're saying the same thing. Listeners would have to let us know, but they should. I don't know. I just look at what's happening with a lot of these daytime shows. And what I can't figure out for the love of me is it's not the 70s anymore. Hell, it's not even the 90s anymore. There's really not as many people staying home watching this stuff. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, they're at work or
Mm-hmm.
they're at school.
Mm-hmm.
Even if there is such thing as a homemaker, be it a male homemaker or a female
Mm-hmm.
homemaker, they're not watching this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of one of those, to the point that you're talking about, in regards to innovation and all that. One thing that I've seen within the past 7 years that has made me nod my head and go, well, it's about damn time you guys are embracing this. There used to be a period where the news organizations, they did not embrace social media.
True.
They would
True.
just, they would post their little
Mm-hmm.
news and give you a
Mm-hmm.
hot link
Mm-hmm.
for going to their news website to learn more, all of that other stuff. But then eventually, they kind of realized that, yo, the audience and their retention, like, you got to get them quick, with that lead, that title basically, and all that information. Give them the five W's in that lead. Otherwise, you've lost them forever. And so now they're being really catchy. They're being very witty about how they report the news, and I give them a lot of credit for. Well, it took you long enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, y'all should have been behind this, and you know, I'm still though continuing to see some news organizations struggle showing news reports segments from like our local Fox 5 affiliate that's out here.
Mm-hmm.
They are struggling on social media. Like
Mm-hmm.
particularly I look at their Twitter account
Mm-hmm.
and they be trying to post these little random clips from all their little various shows
Mm-hmm.
that's not news.
Right.
You know, it's like
Right.
it's talking heads giving their
Right.
personal opinion and
Mm-hmm.
all that.
Mm-hmm.
And those clips are not doing well at all.
Oh
I
wow.
remember one instance I saw a clip that was from 2 3 days ago, and they only had two hearts and 30 views, and I'm going, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I do like 5 times more of that with just a clip on YouTube, or like,
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
yeah, and meanwhile I look at, and
NBC.
I look at NBC or insert whoever,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, hey, we told you about this story of this guy that's going around touching random women's hair on public buses and trains. And the way that they do the story, they tailor make the story. They're not just
Mm-hmm.
going, okay, we're going to do this same story, but we're going to repurpose it. No,
Right.
the fucking reporter does an exclusive, like 90
Mm-hmm.
second bite size
Mm-hmm.
exclusively for social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it.
Not only that, to piggyback off of what you're saying, you also have the anchors who are on their, I don't know if it's personal page, but, or, um, what am I trying to say? Their page that they create that is
Your personal
affiliated
or business
with
account.
business, yeah, your business account that's affiliated with your network that you work for.
Mhm.
They are literally posting throughout the day of a picture here or a video there. You know, Sean Yancey will do a 30-second video of, inspirational stuff, or, whatever have you. That's a good way of engagement,
Yeah.
and to keep the viewers like, oh yeah, well, let me see what said person has to say because I really like her posts. So it essentially is drawing them in without necessarily drawing them in.
Right. But let's not lose focus. Let's not lose focus. Putting a pretty little ribbon around this. For me, as someone that is majoring in journalism, pursuing a career as a MMJ, that's a multimedia journalist, it's been infuriating to see some of these organizations in 2026 still not be able to figure it out as far as how they need to
Mm,
strategize,
mm-hmm.
utilize these social media
Yeah.
platforms. I hate to use the
Yeah.
soap analogy, but look at how long it took some of those soap operas to push for some of their production distributors. Hey, can we make these episodes be available for streaming platforms? Can we make these be available for purchase over here? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're missing out
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
revenue making opportunity here.
Right.
What's going on? When you're not getting in front of the eight ball like that, evolution can fucking,
We'll pass you by.
right, you can scold all you want. You can say, I'm not really able to make any sense out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care for this. Let me just get in my comfort zone. I remember when I went to a workshop last year. All we had all these directors of different news organizations and everything, and all of them, and producers. They all were saying the same damn thing:
Mm-hmm.
social media, social media,
Mm-hmm.
social media. You
Absolutely.
can't turn a blind
Nope.
eye to social media.
Nope.
So I think ultimately, when I look at what's happened with just some of these shows, and there's many others that have been put
Mm-hmm.
under the chopping block. Yeah, it's one of those cases where there's like, really didn't embrace the
Mm-hmm.
technology that's out there.
You also have possibly a generational split in the fact of this is the way we've always done it versus the newer ones coming in of, well, this is the way of the new and the now.
Rephrase generational split.
So basically you have a producer who's been in the production, or a lead, your COO, who's been in the news business for 30 years.
Mhm.
And 30 years ago they did this, that. Well, you also have that same person who doesn't necessarily go with evolution. They resist and, like you said, stay in their comfort zone. Then they're still doing this, that, and maybe a little change. But evolution, while they're doing that, is literally passing you by. Versus you have a younger producer who's coming in, or a younger COO who's coming in and saying, this is what I'm seeing working out on the market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it could. I don't want to get too
I
into the
mean,
weeds,
but that's
but
just, well, I mean, going back to very briefly your time at the Capitol Emmys
yeah,
of
but
bringing in the ideas.
right. But they didn't specifically say it was the fault of a COO or because I want to make sure that we don't put ourselves into a
No, no, no. It was just, this was a general assumption,
uh
guys, as far as not this one said this or did this. No, no, no. General assumption of the market.
mm,
So basically, Lee, when he did the Capitol Emmys, it was like, oh, well, this is the way we've always done it. And Lee literally is over here going, well, here's how I'm doing it. And this is getting traction.
no, that's not what happened at
Oh,
the
that's,
Capitol Emmys.
oh,
No,
okay.
no, 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 no. For the record, what happened at the
Okay.
Capitol Emmys was um, I showed them where they're okay. We're going down a weird rabbit hole. Okay, let me put the pretty little ribbon on this real quick. So, newer listeners, I was at the Capitol Emmys. Basically, it is a award ceremony where everything news related. So, all the news affiliates, that includes cable news affiliate stations. Everybody comes there and they're up for awards. Okay. And I was part of the social media team. And basically, my responsibility was to capture as much content as possible, photographs, live video, and post it all throughout social media. I had access to all of the Capitol Emmys social media accounts. And so at one point, I streamed live on various platforms. And I said to one of the head people of the social media team, I said, hey, here's what I'm seeing for your metrics. And I told him straight up, I said, look, Blue Sky, like, there's no traction. Facebook, there's like no traction. Like, I'm seeing about maybe 10 views. The Twitter stream was where it was at, as I remember at one point, it climbed like to about 500 live concurrent views, and if anything it was growing from that for like the 30-minute test that I had did. I then was advised at that point, okay, so let's do this. Don't worry about Facebook, don't worry about Blue Sky, just worry about Twitter. Like, put everything out in the open on Twitter, keep sharing photos on the other outlets, but as far as going live, let's just put all our eggs on Twitter. I'm like, okay, what about Instagram? Nah, don't worry about Instagram. For Instagram, we got our Instagram team over here. They're just gonna worry specifically about Instagram, posting images and all that. Don't worry about Instagram. You just worry about. I'm like, okay, all right, bet. And when I went back to streaming more throughout the night on Twitter, our live audience continued to grow. I think the maximum that we had was about over 1,000, over 1,000 that we had. And so part of embracing, now if you want to ask me, having been out there, and so I do know what I'm talking about. If you want to ask me like, well, Lee, how can something like what you just talked about, have been talking about for several minutes now, how can something like with all these shows that's getting the acts and the production companies that's behind them and all this other shit, again, it goes back to, how can shit like that kind of be avoided if it could be helped? One of the first things I look upon is, well, what's going on with the proper utilization of the social media tools that's at your disposal? How are you going about utilizing those tools? Are you really utilizing them to the best of your advantage, or are you just doing the bare minimum, right? If you're just taking the same video clip and you're just repurposing it, that's not really anything. Give the viewers a unique experience for going out of their way and accessing that piece of content for that specific social media platform and all that. Now, I'm not saying it's all about social media, but I can tell you from the little bit of research that I did do on some of these shows that's getting the axe,
Mm-hmm.
they really were not, like, social media was non-existent. And
Mm.
I can't believe I have to say this in 2026 and beyond, but if you think that all you're gonna do is your little, daytime talk show
Nope.
or whatever, and you ain't got to worry about social media,
Nope.
oh, you're sadly mistaken.
Yep.
You are sadly fucking mistaken. You have to utilize social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than the worst thing that a podcaster wants to hear is, do I really have to make clips for my show? Yes, because
Mm-hmm.
nobody in this day and age really wants to listen to an entire show. It's sad, but like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know the hardcore listeners, they're always going to be there. The
Right.
hardcore listeners in and out, because they appreciate the host or hostess, they're going to continue
Mm-hmm.
to, they're always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But for that casual part,
Mm-hmm.
no, you have to do clips because people like their shit digestible. They
Mm-hmm.
want to be in and
And
out.
they want it instantaneous.
Well, that too, yeah. But the main thing, they want to be in and out.
Yeah. Oh,
They
true.
they shouldn't have to, right. They, because the day and age, man, I shouldn't have to listen to almost
Mm-hmm.
an hour of a show
Mm-hmm.
right before this topic hits.
Right.
No, no, I should be able to find this clip. Even when you go out of your way and you put in the timestamps so
Mm-hmm.
people can easily seek what they want to seek,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to, majority of them aren't going to even do that. You got to give them a
True.
clip.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to give them a clip.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you got to do
Mm-hmm.
it. That's what made, there's this one show that what's the girl that had Leon Harris on their show recently?
I remember you told me the name, but I don't.
Is it Sherry?
I.
Whatever her name is. There was this former NBC reporter, Leon Harris. You probably remember it. I talked about it on social media and the shows. He appeared on the broadcast, Thanksgiving broadcast 2 years ago, and he was towed up. Dude was drunk as fuck. And he got pulled off the air after like 15 minutes. And the news broadcast was supposed to last an hour. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I remember she recently, like last month, she interviewed Leon. And it was like his first time speaking since the incident had happened and everything. And I appreciated the fact that she showed a little clip
Mm-hmm.
of her interview with him.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I wish I could have been the producer of that show because I would have given specific orders to the social media team. Yo, we need to cut this and do this in a way where it's a completely different experience
Mm-hmm.
for social media.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, yo, there are so many sub chapter subjects in this. I can break this shit up
Mm-hmm.
and I can spread this all around and we can, like,
Mm-hmm.
either for the whole day or we could stretch it out a couple of days. We could
Mm-hmm.
do it just like that's how you got to be thinking now. That's how you got to be thinking.
Because the algorithm is showing you more of what you're watching anyway.
Right.
So as soon as something else pops up that was something you were watching, you're gonna see it.
Right. more importantly than that, that is how you are continuing to knock out so many, the brand awareness, the
Mm-hmm.
keeping up with the
Mm-hmm.
times,
That's true.
how the consumers are consuming the content,
Mm-hmm.
all that other shit.
That's true.
I mean, it's like if you guys want, like, I will talk about this because like I'm learning so many new nuances with this topic that like I can go over your head and under with this shit. Speaking of production companies and all that other shit, I wanted to talk more because a lot more information has come out. Let's talk about this shit that happened in OVW last week.
Mm-hmm.
I know I showed you the footage. I didn't speak about it for the very first time, not until this past Monday. So listeners have an idea of where I stand on this, but I know some new information has come to light since I talked about it earlier in the week. But I know you haven't spoken about the incident that happened yet. And for those of you that aren't sure what the hell we're talking about, basically, we had this referee down at the OVW promotion where Al Snow is one of the head trainers, and I know ownership has changed multiple hands now. I don't know if Al Snow is the sole owner. I know at one point the mayor of Louisville did have some type of ownership, but he has since this incident has come about said, "Hey, I ain't got nothing to do with OVW, but thoughts and prayers for that young kid." I'm like,
Mm.
okay, way to distance yourself from that, but
Right.
neither here or there.
Right.
But basically, during a OVW taping of a show called Rise last Thursday, there was a 22-year-old referee that had took a it's weird because I thought when I was watching the clip initially, I thought I was looking at some modified crossbody, but the
Mm-hmm.
dude was trying to go for the AJ Styles phenomenal forearm,
Mm-hmm.
and essentially part of his upper body kind of, as he was landing on the referee, it kind of leaned into the referee's head, and then the way
Mm-hmm.
the referee had himself positioned, it really should have been a case where opposites attract. Okay, you're going this way, then I'm going to go that way to make it look like you connected with the move. And that's not what the referee did. And when
Mm-hmm.
he landed, he hit his head extremely, extremely hard, and then went right into seizure mode.
Well, not right into. It took about 30 seconds.
No, no, no,
He started getting
no,
rigid.
no.
Well, that's what I saw.
No, no.
About.
Let me tell you. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Dude, immediately. Let me tell you something. From the moment that dude's back of his head immediately went on the canvas, and you had another wrestler go and check on the guy, try to see if he was okay. And I seriously doubt that the referee was able to say, "Yeah, man, I'm good. Go do your shit." We've watched wrestling long enough to know, yo, we never see a referee take a bump and the referee is just chilling in the middle of the fucking ring. Something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now look, granted, from the moment that the referee's head hit the canvas and we're like, oh damn, wonder oh wow, what a spot. And then the referee is still laid out in the middle, not in the middle. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
go. "Oh, let me just roll my ass out of here or any." No, he is still there,
Mm-hmm.
and then he starts bringing up the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at this point, maybe it's about, if you want to say, okay, he doesn't start raising the hand for like 30 seconds. But see, because I've been there and I done that, and I know what it's like to feel like an eternity when you like do a move and you hit the back of your head and it feels like a fucking eternity before you can finally start feeling shit in your body and like, okay, can I move now? Like, that was some scary shit. Okay? That was some scary fucking shit. There's no doubt about it, it was some scary shit. But as far as like, I know the part you're talking about where he really started, okay, something is definitely wrong here. But I'm saying about 20 seconds into the video,
Mm.
the fact that these fucking wrestlers did not have the common sense.
I always thought, I'm like, why are they still continuing to proceed?
Right.
Like, this doesn't look right.
Right.
And then then it was like the man is literally seizing on the mat, and one wrestler finally has the common sense,
No,
or
lack of.
lack of,
Lack of common sense.
and he just kind of rolls him over into the corner.
No, he doesn't roll him into the corner. He takes his back legs and kind of kicks him,
Right.
trying to kick him slash roll him
Right.
out of the ring using his feet.
Right. Right. So I'm like, well, damn. I mean, like, anybody who knows anything about anything would be like, well, damn, this don't seem right. I mean, obviously, all of a sudden the man is just now shaking in the middle of the floor or the middle of the ring. And yeah, it was a horrible spot all the way around. I mean, to be honest with you, for me, as soon as I saw the video and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, he's stiffening up. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then I just see this man start to shake. And I'm like, oh my God, this man is literally having a seizure in the middle of the ring. And I'm looking at the video and going, okay, so somebody's going to help him?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
And it was like, now that was an eternity
Mm.
in reference to getting this man help. I mean, good God, you're not in an actual fucking taping. Jesus Christ. You've got,
No, it was an actual taping.
well, I
It
mean,
was, and
like,
it was streaming live.
well, I guess I should have, in reference to like a WWE taping. It's like, okay, cut or something and get this man some help. I felt like the lack, the time that went past was way too long. Now, obviously, as a medical professional, when someone is seizing, you actually are only supposed to make sure that they're comfortable and or not comfortable, but they're not going to bang their head or, swallow their tongue and all that other crap until the seizure stops. But it still took them way too long to be like, yo, I need some help, like down here, like now. And for me, that's what I saw, in the video, and I thought it was quite jacked up.
To be exact, because I'm looking at the full clip and I'm scrubbing it right now. It's like 3 minutes and 52 seconds. 8 seconds in, the young man takes a clothesline. The wrestler one that did the crossbody tries to check on him, and this guy that grabs wrestler A, the good wrestler that's trying to red haired wrestler, as he's trying to check on the referee, like the positioning was all wrong because dude pretty much grabs him from behind and does like this weird alley oop. And honestly, what should have happened right there, they should have done some type of a moving a move hold where like maybe one Irish whips the other one into the corner, and then it's communicated, hey, ref, okay, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Didn't respond to me. Okay, we need to figure this out. Maybe we can kind
Mm-hmm.
of take the action outside the ring. The
Mm-hmm.
cameras will
Mm-hmm.
definitely follow us. Let's
And
do
then
let
while they get him some help.
right.
Mm-hmm.
They could have easily done it just like that. And like
Yeah.
8 seconds, and then like 8 seconds going into this, the referee is down. And again, referee's down. The wrestler goes in. He's checking on him. The other wrestler, that dipshit wrestler, got to get my shit in, and does a little alley oop. Then almost, thank God, he knew where the referee's head was. He could have easily stepped on the referee's head,
Mm-hmm.
or his neck,
Mm-hmm.
or he could have tripped over him,
Mm-hmm.
and he could have fucked himself up. and or the
Or made
referee in
it
the
worse.
process. Yeah, and make it worse. You know, and then the redhead wrestler, he does like this little kip up joint, little drop kick joint, knocks dumbass down next to the referee. Now at this point, dumbass wrestler is in a position where he could try to do the hand test on the
Mm-hmm.
referee, the infamous hand test. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the infamous hand test is the squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, squeeze, let me know you're okay. I'll never forget when I had wrestled my best friend Brian many years back. This was some backyard wrestling shit that me, him, and his wife used to do with some friends and everything. Me and him were wrestling. I wrestled as and this is why back in the day when I used to have so many people, they would go, "Why are you calling yourself the Black Avenger?" Well, that was actually one of my wrestling names.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I wrestled Brian, I wrestled as the Black Avenger, and I had
Mm-hmm.
a wrestling mask on, a luchador mask, and all of that shit, and I was wrestling him. And I had put him in a DDT.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did that DDT, the back of my head, I mean, and I was down. It was a hardwood mat that we had for our ring. We had a rinky dinky ring, but it was all our shit was plywood, and we
Ooh.
put a nice little cover on it all, but like
Yeah. Still no cushion.
no cushion, still no cushion. Brian did the finger test with me.
Mm-hmm.
I did not do the finger test back. And Brian was like, finally, he had to whisper to me, "Dude, are you all right?" And I told him, I said, "I need a few seconds. I can't feel anything."
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, "Okay, fuck it. We'll just lay here and let the referee do their thing. Like, just, you know." And
Mm-hmm.
I remember saying something like, "Brian, this feels like an eternity. Like maybe you need to get up or something." And he's like, "Nah, we'll sell this. We'll just keep selling this." And then finally, I was able to start feeling shit. And I got up and I went back on the offense. I asked the girl I was dating at the time. I said, "Hey, I'm just curious. How long was I? You know?" And she said, "Kind of looked like a minute or two. Like no longer. Nah, it looked like a minute or two." And then when I told her what happened, she was like, "Yeah, you're done wrestling." You know.
Mm-hmm.
So trust me when I say when you hit the back of your head like that,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I'm very fortunate that, knock
Yeah.
on wood, that I didn't have like what happened with this referee.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I tell you, like, I don't want you guys thinking, you didn't hit your. No, anytime I couldn't feel my hands,
Mm-hmm.
legit, I couldn't feel my hands. I couldn't move my fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't move my legs.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't feel shit from the neck down. And it
Yeah.
was like that and to this day, let y'all in on a little secret. Never said this before. To this day, I still have these weird, funky little nerve reactions where there'll be times I feel like, yo, I can't feel my hands.
Mm-hmm.
My hands feel numb, or like my arms, like I can be grabbing my skin, pinching the hell out of it real hard. And to the point, like, I've literally left bruises on myself. To this day, I still have nerve issues.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And guys, literally, I have never heard this before. And you
I
know,
don't like admitting that, but
but I'm
it's taking me time over the years to get
mm,
comfortable admitting
right.
my vulnerabilities physically,
Mm-hmm.
and admitting, hey, I've got certain limitations.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like
Wow.
saying it publicly, but if it'll help raise awareness,
Right.
then it's kind of
That's true.
like I'll fucking go there. I will fucking go there. But like when you're looking at this video clip, and this poor kid, this
Let's
dumbass.
be
Well,
honest.
hang on. This wrestler now, he's in a perfect opportunity at the
Mm-hmm.
21-second mark of this video
Mm-hmm.
where he can do the finger test with the referee, but he does not do it. Instead, he's got to focus on getting his own shit in there. And now, at about the 26 to 27-second mark, you see the referee raise his leg up, and now he's fucking glitching,
Mm-hmm.
seizuring, as I,
Mm-hmm.
but I also call
Mm-hmm.
it glitching.
Mm-hmm.
Now at this point, it's like, okay, all hands on deck. We need to do what we need to do to fucking pivot from this.
Mm-hmm.
And I get everybody saying, oh, well, what a unique position to be in, because the referee is the only one that has the IFB, and usually the referee is the one that he's able to relay the information, he's able to do this, he's able to do that. But wow, what a whole new dynamic when the referee is out of the fucking picture, and the referee, whoa, what are we gonna do? We can't do shit because the referee isn't there. Whoa, well, I tell you what you fucking do. I tell you what you fucking do. I've been there. I've been in a position where I've had media production classes, broadcasting television classes, where if something's off with our talent and we need to relay a message to them and all that, that director or technical director, they talk to whoever is like the floor manager, and it's like, yo, get word out to so and so, the talent,
Mm-hmm.
that we need them to say this instead of this. Okay, so your referee is out of the picture. Who the fuck was your technical director and director in the back? Because whoever those guys were, they should have been, and they got a feed to the commentators,
Mm-hmm.
and
Of
they could
course.
have easily said to one of the commentators, yo, can one of you fucking get down there and throw some audio to the camera, the not the camera guys, but to the wrestlers. They could have been like, can you get some audio out there
Right.
to the wrestlers and camera guys, your technical director and your director, they can communicate separately with the cameraman. So at
Mm-hmm.
any time, at any fucking time,
Mm-hmm.
one of those directors could have been, camera three, I need you to go ahead and have your camera panned on somebody random in the crowd. Just get get
Mm-hmm.
get somebody's get somebody's reaction in the
Right.
crowd. Camera one, I need you to cut directly to the announce team.
Mm-hmm.
Camera two, hold your position. We're not gonna go live on your camera, but I need you to show me what's going on with the referee.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to show me what's going on with the referee.
Mm-hmm.
And you could easily,
Yep.
easily do it just like that.
Absolutely.
And then that's why you have a director and a technical director. A technical director. That way, push come to shove, because they know the format. They know the rundown. They both know what is supposed to happen and what fucking block.
Correct.
So if push comes to shove and one of them needs to be at the board by themselves, the other one can easily just come on out
Mm-hmm.
after the directions has been given,
Mm-hmm.
and then fucking, okay, this is what we need to do, like, let's just go on ahead. And so
Mm-hmm.
my whole point, guys, it's easy to get the communication across, and why there was a serious lapse
Mm-hmm.
of communication here,
Yeah.
it baffles me, because
Mm-hmm.
Al Snow has prided himself on, like, without a doubt, like, you want some of the best training,
Mm-hmm.
Al Snow is the fucking man. Like, there's no doubt about that. But to
Mm-hmm.
have that lapse of judgment and communication, and now he puts out this ridiculous statement talking about, we're gonna better train our referees. How do you? No, no, your referees, like, what the fuck you mean? You're gonna better train your referee? No. How about you
That's not the
better?
problem.
Right. That's not the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the problem.
Yeah.
You are part of the problem,
Mm-hmm.
and then your management that's right up under you is the problem. This was a failure of communication on all fronts.
Absolutely.
On all
And
fronts.
it starts from the top.
And it starts from the top.
So way to deflect
Right. Right.
and not place blame on yourself and take one on the
Right.
nose.
Right. Let me tell
Like,
you something. When I did security at this mall a couple of years back, and I thought it was the coolest thing that they did. They said, "Hey, we need you to come in with the other guards for just this one day. It's going to be for about 2 hours. What's going on? Oh, we're going to give you first aid and CPR training." I'm
Yep.
like, "Really?" Like, yeah, it's only for
Mm-hmm.
2 hours, and here's the best part. Once you get it, you'll get this little card,
Yep.
and you keep that on you at all times, and
Yep.
that way, anything, heaven forbid,
Mm-hmm.
something goes down, you're
Mm-hmm.
trained, you got your card, you can step in, you can do what you need to do. And the
Mm-hmm.
best part, that card is good for, I forgot how long they
For
said.
about 2 years.
They were like,
Mm-hmm.
it's good for, good period of time. I'm like, oh, okay, bet. If you at OVW, if you haven't already done that with everybody that's on
Mm-hmm.
your roster,
Mm-hmm.
like that needs to be priority number one. It shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
take an incident like this
Mm-hmm.
to make a motherfucker go, oh, well, we're gonna revise our procedure and like, no, you should have already. And here's the messed up
Mm-hmm.
part. Here's what's really fucked up about this whole situation. Al Snow went on a podcast some months back and said some line about AEW. I'm waiting for the day that AEW has a wrestler die in their ring. Yes,
Oh
and
my God.
and wow, talk about karma being a bitch. Y'all,
What was he referring to?
there was some weird spot that had happened, and Al Snow was just commenting on like all the death matches, the crazy shit, like people getting injured, and his whole thing was just, it's a matter of time before we're going to see somebody die in an AEW ring. And here you had this incident
Whoa.
happen with this
Look at the
referee
pot
kid.
calling the kettle black.
Yeah,
And to speak back to the current OVW spot, I, this is in no way the wrestler's fault.
you mean a referee?
Sorry, yes, the referee's fault.
But I do, as you're getting ready to
But,
answer that, I do want you to circle
but,
back to those
right.
wrestlers. Yeah, what should happen to them?
But I also think that there is some blame
Mm-hmm.
of who put them there,
Mm-hmm.
put him there.
Mm-hmm.
He looked as he needed more training. He needed to bulk up. And a lot of times people get on their soapbox about scripted and the whole thing with wrestling, right? But what they're not putting forth is how much training these athletes do to make it look like that. And if you're not properly training or you're not properly trained, you can and will hurt someone.
You know what I saw when I looked at all of those individuals in the ring?
They look like amateurs.
To your point, I didn't see a veteran.
Yeah, they look like amateurs.
I didn't see a veteran. So, and look, you can have all the training in the world, as you and I both know from watching all the many years of wrestling, as well as the listeners. Accidents can and will
Oh,
happen,
absolutely.
but
Hmm.
do you have the best people that are at play so that
So that
when
when it
when it
does,
happens, right, it's not deer in the headlights.
hmm,
And I'm
true.
sorry, but if it would have meant I would have been fired or let go, whatever you want to call it, I'm not going to get any more work for OVW. If I had to break character to figure out what was going on with that
Hmm.
referee, well, then the hell with it.
Hmm.
But to everybody that was still continuing to wrestle after the fact,
Yeah. I just think that was stupid. I mean, come on. I mean, grant you, yes, a show is a show.
what are you doing with those wrestlers? What are you doing with those? Are you firing them? Are you disciplining them? What are you doing with them?
Well, that depends on what they were told. I mean, the wrestlers are essentially an extension of what the production staff is telling them
Mm,
to do.
mm.
And you just don't know what they're telling them to do.
So if somehow word got to them to continue to wrestle, but see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. As we continued to watch that footage, we see that eventually there was no more wrestling.
Correct. They
So
finally were
so something
like,
happened.
yeah, they must have finally, told them, look, cut it. This man is having a medical emergency.
Yeah. And can I just say also, like, if you're going to discipline the wrestlers, I know everybody is saying, like, these guys need to be fired. They need to be. I might be on the unpopular side. I might
Yeah,
be on the unpopular side here. How are they supposed to learn if they don't have these kind of fuck ups?
correct.
This is a
Correct.
this is a teachable this is a teachable moment.
Mm-hmm.
You teach them the right way. You
Mm-hmm.
don't just go fuck this.
Right.
There's the door.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the bricks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I had to wrestle with that because I was feeling a particular way on Monday, but then I had to think and more about it, and it was like, no, this is why you're at a place like OVW.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get
Because you're
the training. You're trying to
right.
get better, and hopefully in the process you're picking up some fundamental life
Mm-hmm.
skills that you
Mm-hmm.
can take with you,
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of your life and everything, and succeed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think firing is the right way
Mm-mm.
to do it. Now, depending on these wrestlers' ages,
Mm-hmm.
if we're talking about somebody that's in their late 30s and 40s, yeah, you know, and okay, so you're doing this on the weekend, so you can just brag that you're a wrestler in the ring
Right.
or whatever. If it's somebody in their early 20s, I might have a little bit more leniency.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would first need to know, like, what's the age range of the people that all were involved,
Mm-hmm.
and I can kind of go just from there,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's definitely a teachable moment. I don't necessarily know if I would fire everybody. I mean, at least kudos to the one wrestler with the short red hair. At least
Mm-hmm.
he was trying to check
Right.
on the
He
guy,
was.
right? So that
Mm-hmm.
shows me you got some type of common sense. You're not an asshole. You're
Mm-hmm.
not a dick,
Mm-hmm.
right? The people that everybody seems to be dropping the ball on. Who is your director,
Mm-hmm.
technical director?
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as that shit went down, automatically it should have been camera one, home in on the action, just zoom in on those guys, just get a nice tight shot on those guys wrestling. Camera two, or say camera three, maintain your shot on the referee, but we're not going to come live to you. I just need to
Mm-hmm.
see what's going on with the referee. Camera two,
Right.
I need you to pan to the announce team,
Mm-hmm.
and then give it about 30 seconds tops. Once you're able
Mm-hmm.
to establish something's wrong with my
Mm-hmm.
referee,
Mm-hmm.
then at that point, right? That's the
Yep.
power of your director, technical director.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever those people were,
Right.
get them the fuck out of the booth.
Yeah.
Get them
Yeah.
off the switchboard. They don't need to get rid of them.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, let's compare it, not that it needs comparing, but compare it to WWE. If they want you to believe that a wrestler is hurt, oh yeah, you're gonna see all that mess all day long.
Right.
But if they're actually really hurt, you see a little something, and then the next thing you know, said person is went to the hospital or whatever have you, and you don't see nothing else since the little something you saw right before that.
Well, back up a second. You missed a very critical point. What do they always do when something happens off script and somebody's injured? What's the first thing that they do besides that
Pan to the
little?
referees. I
No,
mean,
no, they don't
not the
pan to the referees.
referees. The table, the commentators.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You always do right.
yeah.
You always do right panning to the announcers.
Mm-hmm.
Every time. You always do right. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
can go wrong when you immediately pan so
Mm-hmm.
you can figure
Figure
out
out what's
whatever
happening.
is right.
Mm-hmm.
Babe, it's no different than what happened with Leon Harris. Just going
Right.
back to the Leon Harris
Yeah.
Thanksgiving drunk accident
Mm-hmm.
incident. Like I told you guys, he was on the air for 15 minutes, drunk as fuck, just slurring his words, all that shit.
Yep.
They went to an abrupt commercial break. Next thing you know, we had the weatherman doing the most extended.
Weather forecast I've ever seen in my
Right.
entire life.
He did two full segments of the weather where it took two commercial breaks, and he must have ate about a half hour.
Right. Well, actually, it was the other 15 minutes. And, and
Oh, that's
then
right. That's right.
they cut and they did two back-to-back episodes of the weekend breakdown or something.
Nightly news.
Nightly
It was
news.
nightly
Yeah,
news.
it was nightly
Yeah.
news times two.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because the news was supposed to be on for an hour, and it only lasted
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Correct.
Right. And they had the weatherman do a full
15
15
minutes of
minutes
that.
of the same fucking report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But look at.
and the funny thing is he was almost like, "Well, what do you want me to do now?"
Right, right. Well, look how long it took the technical
Yeah.
director slash director
Yeah.
to go. I don't know if they were trying to like, oh, Leon will kick out of this. He just got to
Yeah.
work through it. Like, I don't know what
Well,
they
the
were thinking.
first 5 minutes was like, okay, what the hell's happening?
And it got worse from there.
And then it just kept getting worse.
Yeah,
And and then it was like, but when there was one segment after that last segment, and when they were like, okay, this is it,
yeah,
then they quickly went to commercial. And then next thing you know, the weather guy was back.
yeah. Weather guy was back. It was crazy as shit.
But yes, I mean, in reference to, but basically, just to put it, a ribbon on it is just really it's coming from the top. It's coming the person that the top person is putting in the production roles, is putting in the announce roles, is putting in. I mean, that is a whole package. It is not this is this and that is that, and it's you are one package. And you've got to figure out how to work all the components. If not, you're going to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. It sucks that this had to happen. It really is. Especially to a promotion like OVW. Again, I got a lot of fond memories of OVW and everything, and I really hope that they can rise to the occasion. But for how the fans are feeling, they are justified. They're justified in how they're
Yeah.
feeling about how OVW handled this whole situation.
Yeah.
Seriously, and the way Al Snow responded,
Yeah, I
for his
mean,
initial post before the incident, his first initial post was a Waffle House joke. Oh yeah, and they ripped him a new you know what.
why
Then
would you joke about something like that?
right when everybody's going, what's going on with the referee, and yeah,
That just doesn't make any sense. I
I
mean,
and word
that
has it,
shows your level of commitment.
word is,
And
huh,
it also, um, oh my gosh.
word has it.
Mm.
And it's not confirmed, but word has it, he was actually there at the tapings. If
That would
that's
make
true,
sense.
but if that's true, that makes the whole situation even worse because it's like you're an OG. You're a veteran of how many decades?
You should have noticed that and was like,
Yo
look,
ass should have been out there.
and you need to get your
Yeah,
ass down there.
yeah, or something.
Something,
Yeah,
and then start making moves. I mean, that's what you do as, somebody who is in that position.
yeah,
Okay, shit went left. I need to go make it right.
yeah.
And deflect and try to make jokes. Yeah, that's only gonna make your situation worse.
Exactly. To that young referee, on a good note, I believe he's out of the hospital now.
I hope so.
He's taking the high road, and he's just appreciating all the thoughts and prayers, and he's just hoping for better training.
Yeah.
It was his nice little way of I get what he was saying in
Oh, that
between
was
the
a dig.
lines. Yeah, yeah. You know,
And
but
that's what I was saying earlier about no fault of his own, but that dude didn't look like he needed to be taking those type of shots.
Well, shit, babe. Even if he, I started thinking about it more from Monday. Even if he had the size and the bulk, and that freak accident still happened, it still comes down to, okay, how are we all trained for
That's
this
true.
situation? How,
That's true.
as a referee, okay, well, the referee's now out of the equation. As the talent, how are you guys trained? For the announcers, how are you all trained for this situation? For our camera crew, how are you all trained for this situation? Because here's the other thing that they don't really talk about enough on the production side of things. Your camera crew are multi-talented, meaning you can put them in any fucking media broadcast position. If you need for camera 3 to go work the soundboard, they know how to do it. Okay? If you need them to go work on graphics, they know how to do that. If your camera guy's got to go pee, they can pull a spare man, assuming there's 2 or 3 heads in the sound booth area, by the soundboard. They can pull one of those guys to go, pick up the camera. And, so, I mean, when it's all said and done, like, there's no excuse.
No, there's not.
There's no excuse.
There's not.
Other than that, there's one more thing I was eyeballing, but I think it can wait because I wanna look this up a little bit more. Apparently, last week, Tamatonga, over there in WWE, he had shared some footage of preparation that was going into the arena and at ringside ahead of an edition of SmackDown. And that may sound old to you guys, but here's why it's new. Apparently, there's word going around. Shout out to the good folks over at Russell Purist. A couple of hours ago, word going around is that Tamatonga was fined by the WWE for posting a video of rehearsals last week. And Russell Purist was told it was significant of a fine. I looked at the video in question. They really aren't showing anything. Tama, he's really not showing anything that intimate. I'm just looking at this. It's a 29-second clip that he's showing. And he's showing some of the agents, producers that's just walking around. I see Solo Sokoa, who's just chilling. Trying to see who else is really, but he's mainly interacting with this one black guy that's a producer, and he's like, "Hey, what time is the show?" He's like, "Oh, it's time now. We're getting ready now." He's like, "Oh, really?" Like, yeah. There's a bunch of wrestlers that's chilling in the ring, talking with one another. It's so funny, there's really no need to
Oh,
go
but
into
wait. But what kind of oxymoron is that?
go there because that's literally what I was about to touch upon.
So you can have a whole produced show of behind the scenes, but when a wrestler does a behind the scenes video, he's fined.
She's the beautiful and the lovely Tammy Lee Sanders here. Wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. We'll see you guys next go round. Get us all throughout social media using the keywords the RCWR show. Ta ta for now.
Take care.